that just makes me a druggie. I'm nothing more than just a druggie. I can never get out of this. This is who I am. I can't change who I am, so this is me. I'm a druggie. Other people, they cut themselves. And they think, you know what? This is what I do, okay? I cut myself, I'm a cutter. I'm worthless because I'm a cutter, and you know what? There's nothing I can do about it, so this is who I am. And that's not the case, guys. What you do does not decide who you are. You decide who you are. What you do is just a result of who you decide that you are. You guys follow me on that?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of?
That last part.
Rewind a little bit, like Brian through it. What you do is a result of who you decide you are. If you decide you're a drunk, you'll drink. If you decide that you're a druggie, you'll do drugs. If you decide that you're a cutter, you'll cut. What you do is a result of who you decide you are. That's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Just like what I was talking about last week with foundation being so important, because you can't build a solid structure without a good foundation. You can't start building a foundation without the basic blocks of who you are. Because if you have no idea who you are, you have no idea where you're going. You have no idea what you're doing. So all you're doing is you're just stacking up random blocks. Kind of like what Gabe was doing last week. Did you see him, how he's just building up all these random blocks up here? You know what? Yeah, he finally went with a draft because he got an idea of, okay, this is what this is supposed to be. But when he started off, he really didn't have an idea of what it was supposed to be, so he was just kind of throwing random blocks on there. It really didn't have any shape or structure. But as soon as he decided, oh, wait, I know what this is. He had purpose. He had purpose, and so he made it happen. And so he built something that was like a giraffe/Muppet. It was pretty sweet. But what I want to start off with here, well, I guess continue on with, is the way that we find out who we are. And you know what? You can go through life trying to find out who you are on your own, but you're never really going to truly have any idea of who you are until the end of the road when you're on your deathbed and you look back on your life. But then that's not really an idea of who you are, that's who you were. You can go through your entire life trying to figure out who you are on your own, but you'll just be stumbling around, aimless, trying to figure out, okay, who am I? What is it about me? You know, the Bible is very specific about how God views us. I love how he puts this. He says that he knew you before anybody else does, before anybody else did. When you're still in your mommy's womb, kicking her in the kidneys, going, and you were still inside, being a big pain in your mom's side, unless you're like from that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and then it was your dad's side. You guys remember that movie? It was like, what is it, Mr. Mom or something like that? Or I can't remember what it was. But he said that he knew you while you were still in the womb being formed. And the cool thing about that is he literally knew how many hairs were on your head. This is how well he knew you. Now, if you think that someone knows how many hairs you have on your head, okay, can you stand up just for a second, just for everybody to see this? Because I know you have a lot of hair follicles. I'm just going to say this. This is very obvious. Let everybody look over here. You see how many hair follicles she has? Does anybody want to count those? Any volunteers? I know you would. You're just crazy. You can sit down. Thank you. So he knew how many hairs were on your head. Do you think that somebody that actually took the time to number the hairs on your head would have some idea of who you are? Then on top of that, he actually knows you so well because he created you. If you create something, it's like, has anybody ever played with Play-Doh before? Ever build a fort with Play-Doh? Ever build building? You know that building inside and out because you made it. You made it. God made you, and he formed you. It's like you were that ball of Play-Doh inside your mom's stomach because she grabbed the wrong can out of the fridge, and I don't even know why she's storing Play-Doh in the fridge, but you were Play-Doh in your mom's tummy. And he was forming you, making you into what you are. And this is the cool thing, the way that he describes you is fearfully and wonderfully made. That is how he describes you guys. That is who you truly are. It's not any of these labels that people are trying to put on you about, okay, you're a jerk, you know, you're ugly, you're fat, you're worthless. He is saying that you are worth so much to me, that I care about you so much that I have numbered the hairs on your head. And I spent so much time on you. And I'm not talking fearfully as like a scary thing. I mean respectfully. He is in awe of how perfect you are. This is God, the creator of the universe, and He is in awe of you. He is just so impressed. I mean, He made Jake and He's like, oh, look at this. Oh, it's beautiful. He will be called Jakey Poo and he will wear a tutu. Magnifique. But no, He knew you before anybody else knew you. So you think that if you're going to trust anybody else, is it going to be someone that only knew you for a couple years and saw you in school for a few hours at a time, trying to put a label on you? Or are you going to trust the word of somebody that was the creator of all universe, created you, knows everything about you? Who are you going to trust to say who you are? I would rather go with the guy that has been here since eternity and made me, knows exactly how I work and how screwed up I am. I'm gonna trust his opinion over everybody else's. Everybody else would try to put a physical label on me, say that's my identity, but he's saying, you know what, you are awesome. You are wonderfully made. Are you serious? I think you left me in the oven just not long enough. I feel a little underdone. See all this dough that hasn't cooked yet? That is how He thinks of you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. So at the base of everything here, with everybody else, trying to put these labels, if we just take away all the labels and everything else, all the ideas of what we think that we are, you know what? We're going to say, blank slate. Everybody take every single idea that you have about yourself, who you think that you are, and take everything away. Just blank slate. Everybody blank slate it. Is everybody blank slate? No drooling, please. Just blank slate. I don't want any slack jaw expressions like two blank slate, okay? All you need to do is you learn how to breathe and fine dining. SpongeBob, sorry guys. So blank slate, did you guys get the reference? Okay, good. Blank slate, so just think blank slate. This is who you are, blank slate. At the very base of everything, with that blank slate, nothing else, no preconceived ideas, anything that anybody else has said about you, anything that you said about yourself, blank slate, what is at the base there? What is at the core, the essence of who you are? I want you guys to think about this. The core of who you are loved. That is the core of your identity right there. You know what? Everything else that everybody tries to put on you, a lot of times those are labels that are harmful and trying to make you feel like you are unloved and unwanted. But if you blank slate and you go back to the core of what you truly are, down to the core of the essence of what God has made you, when you were coming out of your mother's womb and He saw you for the first time in this world, and how He viewed you, in awe of you, He was deeply in love with you. So if you take it down to the core of who you are, it is a person that is loved, no matter what. So then we can start putting on the other things in our lives. You know what? Leave out all the crap that other people are trying to put on you. Leave it out. Things that your parents have said to you, things that your friends have said to you, things that you might have even said to yourself as you're angry at yourself, looking in the mirror saying, I'm so ugly. Look at this skin. I can't believe this skin I'm breaking out. Look at this fat. It's terrible. Oh, God, it smells like I'm so ugly. Take away all that stuff. All right? That is not your identity. That is just a physical description, and that will change. If you start building your identity around temporary things, you're going to be a very temporary person. You're never going to find out who you are. So you need to build your identity around things that you know are unchangeable. You are loved. That is the cornerstone of everything that you should build off of. No matter what anybody ever says to you, no matter what anybody ever does to you, no matter how you feel about yourself, you need to go back to the cornerstone of everything that is the essence of you and know that you are 100% loved, no matter what. Even if you don't have any friends, even if you feel like everybody is against you, guess what? You are loved. Why? God is there. He was there before anybody else even knew you. Even before you were named. Even before your mommy and daddy knew that they were pregnant with you. He started freaking out. Even before all of this, He knew you. He knew who you were going to be. He knew who you were in that instant. He knew every decision that you were going to make. And you know what? Regardless of any decisions that you've made to where you feel like God's mad at me, He's not. Because He loves you. That is at the core of who you are. That is in the inside of you. And no matter what you do, it cannot change that. Because every single time he looks at you, he is still in awe saying, wow, I did good. And you're like, I screw up all the time. I'm just one major screw up. I'm a failure. That's not true. I've learned one thing in life about that title that has helped me out a lot. You're only truly a failure if you decide that you are. You know what? From 18 till about 21 or 22, I had an idea where I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be in business for myself. It just sounded like a lot of fun. I failed several times. And by the world standards, I failed several times where I had several businesses to where I took my bank account to zero several times trying to make these puppies work. You know what? A lot of my friends, they were just looking at this, and I actually got asked, why are you trying again? It's because they were looking at it as that was a failure, and you're a failure because of that. You shouldn't try again. But I was looking at it not as a failure, but as a learning experience. Every single time I did something wrong, I took the bits that I can use again and say, I'm not going to do that again. It's kind of like the guy with the stump of an arm, no hand. You know, someone's reaching down in the sink to get something. He's like, hold on! Turn the garbage disposal off. Now, some people would say that is an epic fail right there, that he ground up his hand in the garbage disposal. No, that was a success because he was around to tell someone else, don't do it. That was dumb. He still got his other hand, so apparently he learned his lesson. But it is only a failure if you decide that it's a failure. And you were a failure only if you decide you were a failure. Even if you keep just doing everything wrong and nothing is successful for you, even if you just keep falling on your face again and again and again and again and again and again, you have only failed when you decide that you have failed and you quit. Have you guys learned about how many times it took them to make the light bulb? Have you learned about that in school? Has anybody ever seen the commercials with Giddy Up 409? Has anybody ever seen the commercial of 409, the chemical cleaner? You guys, your parents don't use that? Oh, I bet they've gone all green and they're using like baking soda and everything. Oh, it's terrible. 409 is a powerful cleaner, very good. Do you know why they call it 409?
Because 4 times is too powerful.
Say what?
Because 4 times is too powerful.
Okay, that was really good. Why do they call it 409? Because 410 would be too powerful. No, they call it 409 because that's how many times it took them to find that formula that worked. 409 tries to get the formula right to where it did exactly what they were needing it to do. They could have just called it a failure after the first 200. I probably would have. Just been like, screw this. I'm going to play Nintendo. Yeah. 409 times where they had an opportunity, actually 408 times where they had an opportunity where they could say, this is a failure, I'm a failure, we're done with this. And they kept going. You were only a failure if you decide and you quit. Now I know I've talked to several of you to where you've had family and friends specifically tell you that you are failures. That is a lie from hell. And you have a decision in that instance when they come up to you and say you are a failure, you never amount to anything. You have a decision right there where they're trying to put that label on you. You have a decision. Am I going to make this who I am? Am I going to accept this and decide that I am a failure? Because again, I said, you are only who you decide you are. Past the core of being loved, you are in control of what your identity is, what you decide that you are. So are you going to take that and say, I am a failure?